Have you ever made a choice that changed the entire direction of your life? That's what happened to a woman named Rahab. She didn't wear armor, she didn't lead an army, but her courage and her faith shook the walls of a city and rewrote her future. Jericho was a fortress. Its walls were thick, its gates strong, and its people confident. They thought nothing could touch them. Inside those walls lived Rahab, a woman whose home sat right along the outer wall. She wasn't a noble woman or a warrior. She was known in town as a prostitute, a label that followed her everywhere she went. But God saw something in Rahab that no one else did, a heart that was ready to believe. She had heard stories, rumors really, about the Israelites, about a God who split the sea in two, who led his people through deserts and defeated mighty kings. And though she lived among people who worshipped idols and gods of stone, something about those stories stirred her soul. She thought, if this God is real, I want to know him. One evening, just as the city was settling into the quiet of night, two men knocked on Rahab's door. They weren't locals. Their clothes were dusty from travel, their eyes sharp, alert. They were spies from Israel, sent by Joshua to scout out Jericho. And somehow they ended up at her house. Rahab quickly realized who they were. She knew the danger of helping them. If caught, she could be executed as a traitor. But in that moment, she made a decision that would define her life. She whispered, "Come in. I'll hide you." It didn't take long before word spread. The king of Jericho heard that spies were in the city. He sent soldiers straight to Rahab's house. "Bring out the men who came to you," they demanded. "They're spies." Rahab's heart raced. Upstairs, the two men hid beneath bundles of flax on her rooftop. Downstairs, she took a deep breath and stepped outside. "They were here," she said calmly, "but they left before the gates closed. If you hurry, you might catch them." The soldiers ran off into the night, and the gates of Jericho slammed shut behind them. Then Rahab climbed to the roof, where the men were waiting. In the cool of the night, under the stars, Rahab spoke words that changed everything. "I know the Lord has given you this land," she said. "We've heard what your God did at the Red Sea, and our hearts are melting in fear. Your God, he is God in heaven above and on earth below." Imagine that moment. A woman from a pagan city standing before two foreign spies, declaring her faith in the God she'd only heard about. That's faith in its purest form, not seeing, but believing. Then she made a request. "When you take the city, promise me you'll spare my family, my mother, my father, my brothers and sisters." The spies nodded. "Our lives for yours," they said. "If you don't tell anyone about us, we'll keep our word. Tie this red cord in your window, and everyone inside your house will be safe." That scarlet cord became a symbol of faith, of rescue, and of new beginnings. After helping the spies escape through her window, Rahab waited. Days passed. Then came the sound of marching. Israel's army surrounded Jericho, not attacking, but walking in silence. Once a day, then twice. For 7 days. Rahab could only imagine what her neighbors were saying. "Look at them, just walking circles." But she knew something they didn't. She held on to faith, gripping that red cord as if it was her lifeline. And on the 7th day, as the sun rose and the trumpet sounded, the ground began to tremble. The mighty walls of Jericho collapsed, every wall except one, the one with the red cord. When the dust settled, Rahab and her family were brought out safely. She left behind the ruins of her old life and joined the people of Israel, the very nation she once feared. And here's the most incredible part. Rahab's story didn't end there. She married a man named Salmon, became part of God's people, and generations later, she became the great-great-grandmother of King David. Yes, Rahab, the woman once known only for her past, became part of the lineage that would one day bring the Messiah, Jesus Christ, into the world. Rahab's story reminds us that faith isn't about where you've been. It's about who you trust. It's about courage in the face of fear and believing that God can rewrite any story, no matter how broken. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't powerful. But when her moment came, she believed. And that belief didn't just save her, it transformed history. So if you've ever felt unworthy, unseen, or like your past disqualifies you, remember Rahab. God saw her heart before anyone else did, and He can see yours too. Walls fall, labels fade, but faith. This is the story of Rahab, the woman who believed and was never the same again.